In this video, we're going to demonstrate how system leaders should review lesson plans that have been submitted by faculty into xCredit. So you'll access xCredit from the student source website by clicking on the faculty source link and then clicking on xCredit and then clicking on the login page, login link. You'll log in with your normal UVA computing user ID and your OASIS password, then click login. I've already logged into a demonstration server here. Once you've logged in, you'll see this page, and you'll click on the administration link. Once you see that, you'll only see one option, typically, unless you have other tasks or roles within xCredit. So you'll just do the final review. On this page, you might see more options. If you are both a thread leader and a system leader, you will see two different options here, and you'll have to decide, am I working on thread reviews or system reviews? In this case, this is a demonstration account that is only set up as a system leader. So I click on System Review, hit Continue. Now you'll see the status of the submissions that are currently in the queue for your system. This first one here shows that it is still waiting for its thread review. So you can see that it was submitted by John Jackson. It's for Med 2 students for the academic year of 2011-2012. And you can click on this status here and you can see which threads have been assigned. And you can see that anatomy has approved it, but this was also assigned to cultural competency, and the cultural competency thread leader has not yet approved it. And you can see that there are also some notes here back to the system leader from the anatomy thread leader. This material toward the end might be too advanced for message. What do you think, Bill? Okay, but you really can't move forward on this one until the cultural competency thread leader has reviewed this. But you can move ahead with this one here because it has been reviewed by all the appropriate thread leaders. Let's click on that link. Now you see all the descriptive information about the submission. So you see the system it's associated with, the subject. Now this is, by subject here, we mean where it will fall within the system website. So in this case, it's going to fall under a section that's called MIC Schedule, but this would be whatever is appropriate for your website. The threads that are associated with it, the instructions that will be displayed on the instruction sheet. So it has, these are the instructions for the student. And the way that this will be displayed, you can actually preview down by scrolling down to the bottom page and say Show Instruction Sheet. This is how to look to the students. It'll show who the presenter is, the start time, the end time, the title, and then the instructions and the learning objectives. So you want to make sure that all that is accurate. The keywords that have been associated with this. Now these keywords are important for the curriculum mapping process. You want to make sure that they are complete. You'll notice you have an edit button beside each one of these options, so you can revise and should revise or complete anything that is incomplete. So I've clicked on the instructions here. Say if you just caught a typographical error in here, or say we just want to change one word out to say this resource, and then I can hit Save and Review, and that then made that change. So since the system leader is the last person to look at all this information before it becomes available to the students, it's your responsibility to make sure that all this information is accurate and complete, because the faculty member may have submitted incomplete information. When you look at the keywords, this is going to be a pull-down menu list, predefined keywords that are used for the entire curriculum. So you may want to add some additional keywords. Save and Review. Now you can see we have two keywords listed here. You might see multiple authors listed if it's being team taught, and then you're going to see the resources that are actually available as part of the presentation. Now in this case, this is a false link, but if there were a PowerPoint, it would you'd click on this and you'd be able to open up the PowerPoint file. There might be multiple Word files. There might be a pre-class and a post-class version of the PowerPoint presentations. Whatever is appropriate, whatever has been submitted by the faculty member will be listed here, and you'll be able to view all those files. And you should review those using the system reviewer guidelines that we provided elsewhere. Activity type lists out the type of activity that this is according to the normal list that's used throughout the curriculum. You might revise this. It can also be, you can have multiple options that are chosen. Now, this will not be how reimbursement is driven. Reimbursement is driven by the choice of this within OASIS. It's the same list, but this does not carry over into OASIS. I'm going to save and review that. Services, in this case, no services have been chosen, but let me show you what's there. This is mainly a flag for people in the Simulation Center or the Standardized Patient Center or the team-based learning team that they are needed for a particular event. So this, if the faculty member has chosen one of these, it sends an email to the appropriate people within these groups so that they are aware that the faculty member has plans that will require their assistance. And then, of course, you can also review their learning objectives, and you can revise and edit those as well. Now, when you get to the learning objectives, you'll see that you can add. Of course, you wouldn't be writing new learning objectives from scratch, but the faculty members would be adding those. But you can also search and edit for existing learning objectives within the system, as well as create new ones. That's primarily the role of the faculty member. Hopefully you've reviewed these prior to getting the final submission in next credit. But let's say for the moment that you've reviewed all this information and you're ready to make a decision. You'd go up here and click on the Decision tab. Now you'll see you have two fields here and a number of buttons. So this top field here does not go back to the author. It goes back to the system administrators who are overseeing the entire process. And in this case, you might make suggestions as to where this might be mapped to our competencies. So the School of Medicine has developed its own competency list, and you say this might relate to professionalism as well as medical knowledge of whatever. So this is just suggestions that you might have about how this might relate to the curriculum map. The second part actually goes to the author, and this is most useful whenever you're requesting a revision. You might say the materials in the last 4 slides seem too advanced for Med 2 students. Please revise. And if this were the case where you're asking for revision, you would click on the Request Revision button. This sends an immediate email to the faculty member who submitted with your message. The faculty member then can revise the materials according to your suggestions and then resubmit the revision, and then they will show back up in your queue for things for you to review a second time. So you can go through this process as many times as needed. Now, if it has already gone through a thread review and you ask for a revision, it does not go back to the thread leader for review. It only comes back to the system leader for review. The other button here is Approve. These would be the most 2 likely buttons that you'll be using, most frequently used buttons. The Approve button moves over all the files and makes them linked into the student source within the appropriate system website at the right subject heading and so forth. But they're inactive because you may want to activate those at a specific time. So they're available in the student source. They show up for the administrative support staff so they can make them active whenever you decide. But they're inactive after approval here. Decline would be very rarely used. This is if you're just kicking it out altogether. And basically the faculty member would be have to start from scratch. Reassign Reviewer also would be rarely used, but what it is used for, say if it got routed to the wrong system leader, that the faculty member accidentally checked the box for it to come to MIS, and it should have been going to MSI. So this Reassign Reviewer would then send a message to the system administrator and with your message of who it might be rerouted to. And then Cancel just backs up out of the decision tree and goes back to the review page, and Reset clears everything that's been you've put on the screen. So normally your last step would be Approve, and then it would be moved over and listed in the student source so that you could activate it for student viewing. So that's simply how you go about the review process.